This has happened for many years. I was 30 years old at the time. Our company was mainly engaged in water conservancy projects. The project we got this time was in Africa. So I stayed in Liberia for a year. I was very uncomfortable when I first arrived there. Whether it is the climate or the food, most of our work is outdoors. The hot weather in Africa makes me very miserable. After 2 months, I gradually got used to life here. After resting in the room for a while, my body felt very weak, and my body started to have a fever. I felt that it would be better to rest for a while, so I could only lie on the bed. I'm out of energy. This weak state is very peaceful, aware that death is imminent. No fear, but I am interested in the future. With a peaceful heart, all the seemingly important things in life are gone, they are not so important anymore. Consciousness and body are a complete system, not separate. Because of this weak state, I stopped thinking. As the thought disappears, another indescribable force arises from within. Although my body was sick with fever, pain, and weakness, there was a wonderful state of bliss, a certain vitality with every breath. Each breath becomes more pleasant and expansive. Slowly, a slight vibration started, even though the body was still. Pleasant and loving feelings filled me. The shaking continued. I found myself looking down at my body and laughing. Soon this body will end. The thought of letting go is pleasant because all the entanglements in this life are released. This body is so cold and heavy. It's good to let this pass. My consciousness is like an open lotus, everything becomes vast and boundless. Every part of the universe is a part of me, and every part of me is a part of the universe. Is fully incorporated and accepted. This was unexpected. Yet while familiar, it's also not overwhelming. I realized this again. Know everything, learn nothing. It is well known that there is no heaven or hell. Life on earth is just an experience. There is nothing else. Suddenly, the claws of fear engulfed me. The feeling was suffocating, addictive, craving, and the fear that started to push me back into reincarnation was lust, pain, and isolation. This fear brought me back to a state of unconsciousness. Watching this scene reminded me of a sentence: if you can observe fear, how can fear be a part of you? By observing fear, I can see the separation between myself and fear. As soon as I started watching the fear, its grip disappeared. With the release of fear comes despair, guilt, greed, jealousy, and longing for another body. This can also be seen as an extrinsic addictive influence. Soon, all external energy ceased. We also have a doctor where we work, and I see him from outside the body. He was by my bedside, took my pulse, and let go of my wrist in desperation. I can also feel his thoughts. He was nervous, not because of my death, but because she was dealing with my body. Looking at the body produces the perfection of life. This kind of life cannot be described as happy. In fact, it was full of pain and hardship. However, it looks so perfect. Then other life began to appear in visual form. All life appears in a bubble, the whole life from beginning to end, being aware of every moment of life, as if life goes from birth to death. Life is too much, too much. Every life is perfect. Reincarnation is part of the human experience, but it is optional. Once I realize an addiction, it pulls me back into another life, and I'm ready for the next step. A move. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't walk 1,000 miles. Still the same place, but different, less dense and more open. Everything is bathed in happiness. There are many people around me. I know them and they know me. When I came back, everyone was ecstatic. At the time I didn't have words to describe the process, such as spatial transformation. When life left my body, I moved from the third dimension to the fourth dimension, and my ever-expanding awareness reached the edge of the universe. Then I entered the fifth dimension, where everything was illuminated, golden. Later, I heard that this is the land of golden light. Everything is flawless. A man came up to me and told me to go back to my hotel room. My answer was, no. I don't want to leave this magical place. Then another person, or rather a figure of a person, sat at a table in a cafe and motioned me to sit down. He said, "We need you back." After being together in this wonderful space, I was reluctant to do it. I couldn't say no. All communication was without words. Another said, "If you go back, you'll lose all the memories of this place." I started talking with him and negotiated the conditions for my return. "You can't take this memory from me, I want to keep this experience intact." He couldn't refuse me either, and he agreed to let me have this death experience. Then he said, "I promise, this is the last time you're going back." I'm very happy about that. When I was guided back, first into the fourth dimension, then I felt myself back in my cold, dense body. When I became active again, the doctor next to me was totally freaked out. The next thing I know is that I went to the hospital for a checkup, and I was diagnosed with malaria, a disease that is very common in Africa and can lead to death in severe cases. I stayed in the hospital for a month. After I recovered, I returned to America. Later, every time I think about this experience, it feels like it happened yesterday, and the memory is so clear.